How's it going, everybody? I'm sure by this point of 2025, you've heard that there's a lot of model changes to what some people call the 4.5 gen. I think they're calling it the 4 3/4 gen. Sometimes they're calling it the 5th gen. Nobody really knows what generation Ram truck we're on. This cab's been out since 2010. The powertrain, however, has changed. This will be like the second time. The interior's changed a few times. So we're just gonna call this the 5th gen plus. But anyways, I wanted to go over really briefly some of the things they've finally changed on these trucks and why we are selling so many 2025 and 2026 Ram heavy duties. So for starters, I'm gonna start at the front of the truck. Obviously there's a whole new powertrain essentially here. Some things sound familiar. It's still a 6.7 liter Cummins, which is absolutely fantastic. We love our Cummins. And it's the same displacement, but there's a few things they changed on these trucks. So jumping into the 25s, from the top down, no more grid heater. This truck went back to glow plugs. One problem with the grid heater was it couldn't fit the new Mammoth head that they were trying to put on this truck because 2500s now are high outputs along with 3500s. Every truck's a high output, high outputs for everybody. And so one of the things they had to change was they had to get rid of that grid heater so they could get more air inside this engine. They also changed the fuel injectors. So back to glow plugs, which they're swearing up and down. These things are gonna fire up in the coldest of cold temps. They now have external dry injectors, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you can't see this on a Ford or a Chevy. They're too much stuff going on, but you can actually see the fuel injectors going into the side of this engine. What that means is if you need a repair, very easy to get to, right? Things happen, sometimes things need to get fixed, but for 2025, we've got that new cylinder head, new fuel injectors. Not only did they change that, they also have changed the fuel pump. So it's running the CP8 fuel pump now. Again, increasing that horsepower. They had to go to a little bit different design. Moving down just a little bit, fuel filters. We used to have one all the way in the back of the truck above the rear axle, the water separator, and then we had one up here under the hood. Not necessarily bad, but that means you got to get up under the hood and underneath the truck. And then when you go to do your oil filter, you got to go through the fender well. So it was kind of like, you know, you're running all over the place to do all these things. What did they do? They simplified it. So now, right here, and you can actually see them if you look right between that brake fluid reservoir, you have two caps right there. Let me actually see. Yeah, there's one of them. Your two fuel filters are right there. Your water separator's right there. Your oil filter, which you used to have to go through the fender well and kind of jockey it and twist it a few ways to get out of the truck. And as you turn that thing sideways, because it was like, I don't know, playing a game of 3D Tetris basically to get the oil filter out, you would get oil everywhere and people would say, hey, my truck's leaking oil, but it wasn't. It was because you'd spill oil getting the oil filter out. Now, that big massive oil filter's right here. I don't need a ladder, I don't need a lift. I can literally change the oil with this truck essentially sitting on all 4 tires and the fuel filters, which is absolutely fantastic. For people that like to do their own maintenance, they could do that. For people that want to take it to the shop, it's just a little bit quicker, so you're in and out, you're not spending as much downtime.